It looks like Google is going to make the Pixel 10 series phones better for everyone. How are they going to do that? Well, if word on the street is accurate, they're going to give us finally an updated display on the phones that is better for your eyes for the PWM flicker. If you don't know what that is, then it probably doesn't matter too much to you. But if you do know what PWM flicker is, whenever it comes to your phone, then you're going to be really happy about this because it's been a problem for the last, especially couple years, ever since phones switched over to OLED displays. Back when they had LCD displays, it wasn't a problem. But one problem inherent with OLED displays is that low frequency flicker that you get with your screens, especially in lower dim lights and things like that. Well, whenever the screen is more dim, it's something that they do with the screen. It doesn't bother me. I don't really have a problem with it. I've noticed it a few times on some phones if it's like really bad. And this PWM flicker is a direct relation to the hertz that it does. Some are 240 hertz, some are 480, whatever. But the problem is, Google's have been pretty bad about it for the last couple of years, especially with the Pixel 8 Pro. So I'm really excited about this because every time phones come out, like every time the new phones come out, I get people who are like, oh, I'm not buying one. An OLED is going to be bad for my screen. It's bad for my eyes, makes me sick, gives me a headache. And some people that suffer from this, it makes it nearly impossible to use some of these newer phones because I don't know what it is, something to do with the flickering on the screen and how it does it. It causes people headaches, it causes people nausea, it causes people dizziness, it causes all sorts of issues, and it makes it very, very difficult for some people to use phones. And this is something that has been an issue for a long time. Like a lot of phones, it was particularly an argument with Samsung because they've been using OLED panels a lot longer. And then people were upset whenever Apple switched over to OLED panels, and then more people were upset whenever Google switched over to OLED panels. So it's not a problem with LCD. It's only a problem with OLED. And it's one of those things where, I mean, I care, and it's something I discuss sometimes in videos, especially if it's particularly bad, because some of them even I can tell. Like, I can tell with the flickering with the screen, with the way that it refreshes. Like, I can tell sometimes, but like I said, it doesn't really bother me. Maybe there's been like one phone in the past, and I can't remember which one it was. But, yeah, I hear from it all the time. Every time a new phone comes out, because I'll be excited and people will be like, oh, what about the screen flickering? What about the OLED panel? I'm not buying it because it has an OLED panel. What about the PWM flickering? It was bad last year. So this is I don't even know what the math is on this, on how many people Here, let's ask Gemini. How many people does PWM flickering affect on OLED phone screens? Let's see what Gemini says. Says it's difficult to give an exact number. A subset is sensitive. A significant minority of people are sensitive to this flickering. Even if they don't see it directly, the sensitivity can lead to eye strain, headaches, blurred vision, nausea, and migraines. So some sources estimate that around 10% of people may experience discomfort from PWM flickering. So PWM, again, is pulse width modulation, and it varies, from person to person. The flickering on OLED screens due to PWM dimming typically occurs at frequencies high enough that most people don't consciously perceive it. So that's another thing that I want to talk about too. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not causing those problems. So if you use your phone often, especially if you're using the screen, and you're like, okay, this is giving me headaches, it's causing me eye strain, it's giving me migraines, it's making me not feel well, and you can't figure out what it is. Maybe it's because you're looking at your phone screen too much and you have an OLED screen. That's something that it can do. So just because it has something to do with the flickering doesn't mean that you can see it. It's a lot like refresh rate, except it's kind of unseen. So normally with the refresh rate, you're like, okay, the phone, if you got a 60 hertz refresh rate, it feels kind of choppy, like especially if you're used to using a higher refresh rate on your phone. So like me using a 120 or a 144 or 165 hertz on these different phones, it feels really smooth how it refreshes things on the screen. Well, PWM flicker, there's different types of refresh rate. There's the touch sensitivity refresh rate, which detects, how quickly it picks up your detection, like when you touch the screen. That's important for gaming and other things. And then the PWM flickering. So, yeah, there's lots of different things that go on our phones that we don't realize and subconsciously. But yeah, it's one of those things where it does affect people. Maybe it's 10%, maybe it's 20%, maybe it's 15%. But when you take a look at how many phones that impacts, And that's particularly something that's been big for the iPhone, because now that the iPhone is all OLED, they sell what, like 90 million phones a year, or at least 90 million in the US, something like that. So, I mean, if you're talking about 10% of, let's say 200 million, 300 million people buy a phone with an OLED every year, that's 30 million people a year that could be impacted by this. So, it's nothing that I wanted to downplay in the past, but it was something that I was excited about whenever I saw this article talking about Google potentially or probably upgrading their screens with the Pixel 10. I want everybody to have the best experience possible whenever it comes to their phones. I want people to be able to use them and enjoy them and not have any of these issues. Again, it's not something that really impacts me, but it is something that does impact millions and millions and millions of people. So anything that Google can do to make a more comfortable, better, enjoyable experience for everybody, make it more inclusive. And they've been really working on making their phones more inclusive. They got a lot of features for accessibility, for disability, for enhance things on their phones and make it easier for people to use them. This just is one extra step for more inclusivity, making the phone easier for people to use. And then, of course, like Gemini, that's a great thing too. I was using Gemini Live yesterday with the new VO LLM on there to make video clips. It's so cool that if you use a Google Assistant and you have Gemini Live, you can make AI video clips now, which is pretty cool. So if you want me to make a video about that, let me know. I was actually thinking about it this morning. I don't know how many people will watch it, but it was so cool. My wife's mind was blown yesterday. We were sitting down eating dinner, and I realized that I could do it on my phone, because it took some time, I guess, right? They announced that you could do it the other day, maybe like 2 weeks ago, and I kept checking and checking. It wouldn't show up on my phone. So now it was finally there yesterday. So I was having tons of fun. I made a video clip of a Pikachu playing a Sonic the Hedgehog arcade, and that was pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, Google is doing a lot, whether it's on the AI front, whether it's on the accessibility front, whether it's on the features and the hardware front. I think they're doing a lot of great stuff to make people happy. I think they're making a lot of great stuff whenever it comes to products. If you didn't see my Pixel 9a review, I dropped that yesterday. And yeah, this iris color is beautiful. But looking forward to the Pixel 10. There's a lot of big changes coming with the Pixel 10. Of course, we're going to have the Tensor 5, which is going to be made by TSMC. This is the first chip that's not going to be made by Samsung. So Samsung has made the Tensor chips in the past. People have been very unhappy about that. So now TSMC, the same people that make the chips for Qualcomm, they make all these really good, they're the best guys that make them. So we're going to have the best quality company making the chips for the Tensor. So Tensor 5, improvements with the screen, all sorts of great stuff. And they've been leading the way with Android, especially this last year. They've been Johnny on the spot with updates, with the feature drops, with the monthly patches. And we should have the new monthly patch in just a few days. So if you're a Google Pixel fan, stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for a lot of exciting Google Pixel stuff. And also, Google I/O is at the end of this month. So Google is firing on all cylinders right now. And as a Google Pixel fan, I'm here for it. So that's all I got in this video. Hopefully you found this helpful. Hopefully you enjoyed this. And it also brightened your day if you're looking forward to having a phone with better PWM stuff. Which, I mean, it's not a guarantee. Don't take it to the bank, but it's very positive looking, and it looks like a change that we should see with the Pixel 10. So I am happy about that. So that's all I got. If you have any questions, comments, gripes, concerns, complaints, all that stuff, please go to the comment section. I'll do my best to get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.